Hi, my name's Martin. I'm a specialist technical driver coach in Open Formula. In this video, I'm going to share with you my insights and opportunities from FP3 and qualifying in Mexico. If you're interested in what my thoughts are, definitely keep watching. Welcome back to the channel, guys. I hope you're going well. I hope you enjoyed the session. It was a good session and a good day, a lot of things to get through. I spoke yesterday about just going over that turn 2 curb and the potential for there to be track limits, and it could get in the way of qualifying in the race a little bit, and the drivers need to be careful of that. I showed you guys the aerial shot of Esteban Ocon going through turn 2. Well, it turns out they've revised that section heading into today. I'll show you guys the changes now. So let's have a look at it. So on the bottom here was Friday, and there was the potential for cars to just get done with track limits very easily. It's a chicane. It's all about riding the curb. So it's got to be like, I just felt like it wasn't right. So anyway, they changed it for today. What they've done is moved this bollard closer across, and then they've thickened up this white line to give you a little bit more less chance of going outside track limits. So what it meant was that you could attack the turn 2 curb freely, heavily, and with a lot of speed as well. Now, I think this is where Lando kind of stole pole as well. I just had a little box on the top left where they were watching Lando's onboard as we were watching someone else's onboard. And I just saw out of the corner of my eye, Lando just munching these two chicanes. So the McLaren was excellent over the curbs, and it was also really strong through the high-speed chicanes at the back end of the track as well. We'll get onto it, but I thought this was an important change just to give the drivers a little bit more confidence to go after this section of racetrack. A lot of lockups in this session, the FP3 session. On my notes here, I've got heaps of lockups. Hamilton turn 4 and turn 1, and then turn 4 again. Lando turn 4, Sainz turn 13, Antonelli the rears into turn 12. We didn't see too much rear locking throughout the day, but Antonelli the rears in turn 12. Albon, a lot of lockups, 13, turn 4 as well. Carlos at turn 1 in quali as well. And then interestingly in quali, we saw Gabby Bortoleto with a double lockup into turn 12 as well. Double lockups are interesting, guys. Double lockups, like when you lock up both front tires, it's a sign of massively low grip. Generally low tire temperature, low brake temperature, or low track temperature, like 4 degrees, like freezing, right? But in this particular case, we know that it's not any of them. We know that, brakes, tires, everything's up to temperature. It's pretty warm in Mexico this weekend. So it's a sign of generally low grip. In this case, in Mexico, no front downforce at all on the cars in FP3. Just not generating any grip over the front axle. Let's have a look at this image. I'll show you guys what a double lockup looks like. It's just when you lock both of the front tires. Again, it is symptomatic of really, really, really low grip conditions. So what can you do? Whenever I see stuff like that, I'm a big fan of put more front wing on, put more front downforce on. I'm not so worried about the balance implications. We solve that with something else. But having like no grip under braking, like in that fashion, is worse than a balance issue. We can solve for balance issues, or you can drive around it, but whack on more front downforce to actually help with braking capacity. It's one of the lesser known implications of adding on front wing. Yes, it adds front wing, it adds front grip on entry, that's true, but it also has braking capacity and braking potential implications as well. So that would be one solution. Yes, there's a little drag implication, but again, this is a big problem, the double lockup. So that's what I saw in FP3, in the hands of a lot of drivers, a lot of lockups, suggesting not much grip across the front of the car. Jumped on board with Yuki Tsunoda, and I just wanted to show you guys how I'm not a big fan of the way Yuki turns into the corners. He turns in with a little bit of steering initially and then winds it all on in one go. Very good way to overslip the tire, overslip the front of the car. And what that does is like spike the front tire temperatures. In this particular track and situation, when downforce is not significant, it's all about progressive driving. It's hot out there. It's easy to overheat these softer compounds that we have here. I really feel like you just got to baby the car through the corner. You got to drive progressive. I've been saying that word all weekend. And just like be patient with the front and rear of the car. Keep the steering wheel straight as much as possible. And just glide through with momentum and just be gentle. Don't ask the car for too much in direction change, in steering and so on. So when I see Yuki do this, I'll bring up the video now. So there's one here into turn 5. Have a look at the steering wheel. Like a little bit, and then like he's gone really a lot there, like past the front of the car, I believe. And then you see in the next corner, look at the understeer that he picks up. It totally misses his mark there because I feel like the front tire temperatures are going through the roof. This was a bad one for me in turn 12. Again, do you see the rate that Yuki turns into the corner? So I'll show you just turn 12 again. Like if you had to plot this rate over time, it's like nothing and then a lot of steering, you know? Yeah, you just see it just come all at once. So I hope you guys can see that. And it kind of makes sense to you guys as well. But basically, it's the opposite of what I like. I like progressive steering. Wind the steering wheel on progressively and gently. Don't spike your front tire temperatures. Add the steering only slowly. That looks like a good technique for the wet weather. If you were doing a V, a short corner, that's exactly what you want to do. Is you want to just start the steering a little bit, and when you find your rotation point off the rubber somewhere, wind it on, get your rotation, and come back around. So it's like a short corner technique. But no, I wouldn't be doing that in Mexico. Not a fan of that at all. It could be one of the reasons why Yuki's been struggling around this weekend. I don't know about other tracks, other races, season to date, other drivers. I don't know. I just thought I'd call that out as something insightful for you guys. Just jumped on board with Oscar Piastri in Q1. I thought he resolved for the whole turn 9-10 situation that we spoke about yesterday. I thought he resolved for it a little bit better. I'll jump over to the whiteboard and just show you what I'm talking about. I think Oscar's made a little bit of a change to this whole situation, which I like and I'm a fan of. I thought he looked a bit better out there today in this area. And just generally, I thought Oscar looked much better today, a little bit closer to the mark. In red was his line yesterday. So I'll put Friday here. Basically, what Oscar was doing yesterday was he was turning into turn 10 late. So they're asking a lot from the car, trying to carry more speed in. So the speed here could be, I don't know, I'm making this number up, 250, for example. Now, the change that I saw him make today on Saturday, he's pulling everything back a little bit earlier. He's braking a little bit earlier, starting his turn in earlier, and just asking less from the car. At this point, it might be, say, 240, for example. Now, he's brought the rotation point earlier a little bit compared to yesterday, where it was later, like I say. And I think that's just helping him get into turn 10 with less problems. He's asking less from the car, less load. The direction change is happening earlier from a slower speed. And he's just got more time to just turn into the corner and make it. Much bigger fan of that. I'll show you guys a video now. Notice his hands are a lot slower actually compared to yesterday as well. You might have to slow this down and watch yesterday as well. But I'm just happier with how slow it is and how early on in the corner it is and how he's not combining too much. And he takes the curb on the chicane as you should do. And the car's nice and stable. And I like this. So yeah, good piece of driving from Oscar Piastri there. I'll show you guys just a quick image from yesterday versus today as well. So on the left, you've got practice yesterday. And on the right, you've got Q1 today. What I wanted to show you here is the difference in steering angle at the same point in time. I've got this little orange bollard over here as your reference. I tried to get that at the same point in the shot. What this shows me, there's not much steering happening at this point. So Oscar's like, I want to turn in later. I want to carry more speed. What I showed you guys on the whiteboard, like aiming for a later rotation, but with more speed. Here, Oscar's saying, I'm going to start turning in already. And from a low, I'm going to start this corner back up a little bit. So then it gives you a little bit more time and scope to get in here. So it's just a timing thing. And I think Oscar worked it out. And yeah, there's a decent, I've tried to draw a red line across here. There's a decent change in where Oscar's choosing to turn into turn 10 from. Hopefully this image highlights that to you. I'm not sure if you guys saw, but Max was really struggling. Just that similar corner, just one corner before it, turn 9. Every time he was on the throttle and turning, the Red Bull stepped out every single time. I saw it 3 times actually. I saw it, I think, twice in Q1. And we saw it in Q3 as well. I'll jump over to the whiteboard and show you guys where we are. But Max's struggles, guys, were on throttle through this section of racetrack. Turn 9. As he's turning and on throttle, oversteer through turn 9. I'll show you guys the video as well. Just slow it down. Yeah, Max like a cat just responding to the oversteer through here. He's done nothing wrong per se. Like I don't see this is driving error or anything like that. So happy with that. The only thing it happened 3 times, and normally Max is like he's across it. You don't see those things happen twice, let alone three times. Three times we jumped on board with Max. I saw that wobble through turn 9. The only solution I can think of, and I'm a big fan of changing mechanical, like I say that, but with the front locking, I'm like, no, it has to be front wing. There's no other way you can get front downforce on the car and increase front braking capacity unless you add front wing. In this particular case, and where possible, I'm a big fan of going after the mechanical components first before adding drag to the car. So the first thing that comes to mind is tighten up the diff. So the on throttle diff, mid diff, exit diff, whatever you want to call it, like lock that up a little bit, just so Max, just try to get a little bit more understeer in that corner, and just so Max can apply the throttle and there's not too much rotation between inside and outside rear wheel. That's the first thing I would try. I'm sure Max tried something like that. Failing that, probably rear wing. But again, there'll be other implications with that. There might be balance issues, other parts of the track, certainly drag down the pitch straight as well. So anyway, 3 times was interesting to see Max struggle with that. So he had a difficult day actually, struggling. We'll get over to the results in a second, but yeah, I thought I'd call that out as just something Max didn't have a solution for in qualifying. Colapinto was out in Q1 as well. I just want to show you the image, him bouncing across the turn 3 curb in the chicane. This is a bit clumsy for me, guys. This is strange. I mean, to mistime your turn in, like we drew with Piastri between 9 and 10 in a really high speed where you have to pick your moment is one thing. I just feel like in the middle of a chicane, you've got so much more time. Everything's a bit slower. I don't know. I just feel like this is a clumsy mistake. I've never seen a car do, like, I don't know. This is weird for me. Sometimes Colapinto does some weird pieces of driving as well. And it looks like he's a little bit at sea or hasn't driven the track before or something. Actually, he has been here before in F1 and we've had a full weekend pretty much this weekend. No rain. It's not a sprint race. To dial yourself in between turn 2 and 3, I don't think is a big ask. So this one I chalk up unfavorably to Franco. I say that's quite a clumsy piece of driving there, unfortunately. A beautiful lap by Lando Norris, it must be said. Like I said at the start of the video, you just saw him in the corner. The way he took that chicane exactly where Franco was kind of over in the end, mistimed it. Lando's car just glided beautifully over that section of road. His driving, his technique, and the McLaren all working beautifully over there. The result of it all is you can shortcut those sections and get on the throttle nice and early. And if you carry speed through there, it does carry all the way down to the straight, down to turn 4. I thought that was an area where Lando looked particularly better than other drivers as well. The McLaren looked strong all day as well in the hands of Lando. But anyway, let's take a look at the results. So here they are in front of you, Lando with the 15.5, a decent gap, hey, to Charles Leclerc. Charles did a really good job as well. I thought I'd call that out. And good to see Lewis like right up, backing him up, like right up behind him, saying, you know, if you're here, I'm here next to you. That'll be good for Lewis and his confidence. I did have an eye on Mercedes, George Russell to get in there as well. He did. I guess I didn't expect the Ferraris to be in there. And I think Mercedes were affected by temperature over the one lap as well. Yes, Mercedes like two things. They like when the mechanical components take over, when the downforce is not so significant, which this track definitely has. But what they don't like is the hot overheating of softer compounds as well. So George did get in there, but I thought that, you know, if Ferrari are the story of the day this weekend or this qualifying session, I thought Mercedes would be the story of the day. Anyway, one of them snuck in there, and Antonelli nearly snuck in there in front of Max. I'd say, Matt, this is Max not quite dialing in the car. I mean, you saw the struggles that he had through turn 9, as opposed to like, yeah, Leclerc and Hamilton and Russell like doing amazing laps, for example. I'm not taking anything away from their laps, but Max had obvious handling issues in that Red Bull that he was struggling with. And he's just shy of a 10th off Leclerc. So I'd be keen to hear what Max has to say straight away after that. But this is, yeah, I said this would have implications in the championship, guys. I said this is not just going to be Lando, Oscar, and Verstappen. There'll be times when Ferraris jump in there. There'll be times when Mercedes jumps in there. And all these guys that can take points off the top 3 title contenders, then that could also be a big story. And indeed, we're seeing it. Piastri down in P8. Wow, that's crazy. And I don't know what his issue was, to be honest. Like everything I saw in the hands of Oscar looked technically fine. The lap time just wasn't there for some reason. I'll have to get a direct comparison between Lando and Oscar and try to have a look. But anyway, this was an interesting session, even to the extent that Carlos Sainz gets in front of Oscar Piastri. I think he's carrying a penalty of some sort, but to that extent, yeah, then Oscar's really got no lap time to fight with out there. This will be an interesting run down to turn one. Everyone on my channel has been speaking about it, saying, is pole favorable? Do you want pole? You always want pole, you know? If you have to deal with the slipstream or defend or fend off into turn one, you know, you will do that. I'd rather be the pole sitting defending car than the attacking P2, P3 car. There's no guarantee that you're going to make that overtake and take that position. Lando's racecraft, attack, defense, starts, and yeah, turn one strategy will be under the microscope as we head into turn one this weekend. I'll be watching it. Lando needs to, yeah, angle his car across to the inside, pull to the inside, defend hard, squeeze, fight for apexes. You know, he needs to do all of that. But also in the context of, hang on, even if I was to drop back to P3, you still got Max, you're still taking points off Max, and crucially taking big points off Oscar probably this weekend as well. So Lando, I think, needs to, you know, P2, P3, it's actually not a bad day for Lando in any case. Ideally, yes, hang on to P1 and fight for that. But Leclerc and Hamilton can leverage a bit of risk management on Lando and say, you know what, we got nothing to lose. We're not fighting for a championship. Why does it matter to us? I'm going for it. I'm diving into turn one. So Leclerc and Hamilton can leverage that to their strength. Lando needs to risk weight his turn one approach. It'll be interesting to see how he does manage that situation. I think turn one's going to be fascinating, like I say, but I think once we settle down into turn one and you know, the race kind of shakes out, I think thereafter we're going to be looking at, you know, 50 odd laps of procession, unfortunately. It's just the way Mexico is. I'd love to be wrong. I'd love for it to be a mad race, strategy, tire deg, overtaking. I'd love for it, safety cars and whatever. That would be sick. But I don't know about you, but I don't have too many expectations. Yeah, turn one will be interesting and exciting, and we'll see what happens thereafter. Thanks for watching, guys. I hope you enjoyed the video and learned something from it. Drop me a question or comment on your way out, and I'll see you guys after the race tomorrow.